Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Lions Den podcast. This is episode 84, the comeback, as we're going to talk about everything that happened in this week 2 jornadas of Grita Mexico. Our home matchup against Xolos. So we'll definitely talk about everything that happened in that game, kind of current updates of the team. We'll talk about a very important player to us that will be out a couple weeks. Also, just a quick rundown on week 2 and a preview against our third week Jornada 3 matchup against Queretaro, which is tomorrow. So if you're listening via Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, let us know. Give us your thoughts about the show. We'll post the comments on the screen. Have a conversation with us, interact. We're always welcome to hear what you guys have to say, if you agree or disagree with whatever we say. So tonight, Louie and me will be kicking it off, and whoever our rest of the crews will be joining in soon. But Louie, how are we feeling tonight?
Well, in terms of Saturday's match, pretty relieved. Wasn't always the prettiest of matches. Still lots of kinks to work out. But don't let anybody tell you that it's better to lose pretty than win ugly. That concept does not exist. I mean, this was an instance where we really needed a bounce back, as the title suggests, from just a dreadful Jornada 1 after a disappointing Campeón de Campeones. This was a result we really needed, and they found a way to get it, and hopefully they can build upon it. It was more relief than sheer joy, obviously. Still a lot of kinks to work out, but it was nice to go and see a nice result, and that nos tranquilizó at least for a few days.
So talk to me about a little bit about the atmosphere. I think it was just open 50% capacity. Did you think it even got filled to that extent?
Yeah, they said they allowed 50% capacity, which I don't understand the protocols here in the state of Guanajuato. Back when we were in Semáforo Verde, I don't even think they allowed that many. Maybe that was the maximum. And when it was Amarillo, I think it was only 30%. And we're technically in Amarillo now. Yeah. I really don't know how they come to these decisions and conclusions about how many people they're going to let in. I think it's kind of just like, I mean, we've been going through this long enough that it's kind of up to cada quien to determine what is and isn't worth the risk in terms of going out and doing things. Yeah. So as long as they keep letting me into the stands, I am not going to complain about anything. I am triply vaccinated now, and I'm still pretty young person, relatively speaking, in terms of those affected by the pandemic. So I'm going to be there as often and whenever I can. And so I appreciate that even at a reduced capacity, letting fans in. I don't believe it got to a full 50% on Saturday. Xolos is not particularly enticing rival in terms of filling the stands up, and also I bet a lot of people were disenchanted after the previous 2 results, maybe not in a big hurry to get back to see the team in person, not fully convinced at what Jolan is doing yet. Hopefully that will change, but I mean, it's always a better atmosphere when there are people in the stands. In my area, there were, I'd say, a fair number. So the vibe was good, and of course, people leaving happy after holding on for the result was a good feeling.
Definitely. I'm glad you got to live a victory early on, as we had our, past couple of podcasts just kind of on the edge of, like you said, if people are really convinced with what Olan's doing. Obviously, I think Javier was really repetitive last podcast about it's a process. We got to wait. There's still players coming back, getting it to form, or, I guess what would look under Orlan. So I'm glad it was a victory Friday. Carlos will be joining us now as soon as it loads. Carlos, can you hear us?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
How are we
Sure
feeling
can.
tonight, Carlos? Louis apparently looks very happy. We're not going to talk about what he's wearing, but he looks very happy.
Represent.
I feel better. I feel much better, especially with this Leon win. But let's try to keep it at that tonight. Let's try to keep it Leon.
Hey, I wasn't going to say anything. My hat says it all.
Yeah. No, I feel good. I feel we're in a good position. We're mid-table right now. Played much better than the first game, but there's still a lot of things to improve, I think.
Absolutely. But we have to be able to get results while we're figuring things out. We can't allow ourselves 5 or 6 straight losses just because we're trying to work out a new system. I mean, we have to find a way to somehow get results. This was very much in the category of finding a way to get a result while things are still not quite firing on as many cylinders as they will eventually, hopefully, be.
Yeah, and we have a chance to hopefully put together a little winning streak here with a couple of not so decent teams coming up. With the exception maybe of Mazatlan, who's been
let's
playing
hold off
pretty well.
Let's hold off on the Mazatlan judgment. They're topping the table right now, or at least in second place on goal differential. But they've been the surprise of the first few jornadas, that's for sure.
They have, yeah, and I mean it's not going to get easier, especially with the news of Luis Montes being out. But we'll see. We'll see how the guys stack up against the teams that are coming up, especially without Luis Montes, and especially in League's Cup, which is also coming up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll get into that later in more detail, but I think the team it's not as horrible of a news bit to me as it would have been from prior seasons. I think the team is more well equipped, better armed to handle his absence than they were before. I think we have many options that we can discuss, argue about, muse upon on the show about how they replace him, but I'm not as worried about it as I would have been before with the way the team se reforzó for this coming season. I think we have some options there. It'll be interesting to see what they do. And also Montes, just for my money, hasn't been having the greatest start to this season. He hasn't looked great. He's always looked like he's under a lot of pressure, making kind of decisiones precipitadas a little bit on the field. Like, he's obviously the focal point of every opposing defense. I think you made that comment before.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's affecting him a little bit more than it used to. He's not necessarily finding the best pass out of the situations that he gets himself in, being the focal point of opposing defenses. And he's been imprecise, and he hasn't looked comfortable, and he's looked very much under pressure. And I think this break could be a little bit of a blessing in disguise for him.
Yep.
Because really, if we think about it, they're going to have to face the reality of his not being what he was and eventually not being there at all sooner rather than later. So it's maybe a little bit of a good thing, especially working in with a new manager, finding ways to deal with his absence. And I think that should be interesting to see going forward. But still, hopefully it's not a long absence, maybe only 2 or 3 weeks. We can hope for that at least.
Yeah, it didn't look too bad Saturday when he got injured. He played through the last 2 or 3 minutes. He played through the half. I think that if it would have been a lot more serious, he would have been subbed out immediately. But I think he was left on because he could still walk on it. He could still run on it.
I think it was listed as a grade 2, a grade 2 tear.
Grade 2.
So that's worse than a grade 1, which would just be a strain or a pull, but not as bad as a grade 3, which would probably require months of recuperation. I mean, he's getting up there in age, so a grade 2 is still probably going to keep him out at least 3 weeks. But hopefully it's not that serious, and he can be back, before even the midway point of the tournament.
Yeah, I mean he's as I pointed out in my pre-game news, he's been with the team for 10 years already. So yeah, hopefully a much needed break here, and hopefully he's back quickly with us on the field. But Getting back to the team news, the other great news that I had was Santiago Colombato being ready. And he was called up for tomorrow's roster.
Yes, he was
so he will be
convocado.
ready.
He was convocado for tomorrow's match, which I think he could even. I'm predicting he might even get the start. I think he's coming in kind of. Well, I don't know. He just seems like a guy. He's that guy. He's cool as a cucumber. He's always ready to go. It doesn't matter what he's been doing or where he's been traveling from. He's young. He's got great legs. I think they might just throw him in there because really he's the best choice to, in my opinion, to replace what Chapo gives you, hombre por hombre. Like the qualities he brings as a player are the most similar. And you know, he had a long travel and a long flight, but it hasn't been that long since his last match played. I think they might just throw him in there. I really do. I could be wrong, but I think they might. And I would be okay with that decision if they did.
Yeah, I think he should be match ready. I mean, he's had activity. He's been training with the club for the last 2.5 weeks or so. So
yeah, he jumped right back into it. He jumped right back into basically got off the plane and went right to training.
Yeah, I think he should be ready. I wouldn't be surprised if he started tomorrow. So let's cross our fingers. Hopefully, he gets to start tomorrow.
Looks like we've lost Kari temporarily. Just she is in Mexico, as am I. It's been raining nonstop here in the Bajío. Pretty hard thunderstorming, and that has not the greatest of effect on Wi-Fi signals here. So let's be patient with her. Hopefully, she'll be back soon.
Yeah, Javier too. He should be joining us, I hope.
Yeah.
So let's get into the starting lineup. There was a bunch of surprises in the starting lineup. So let's get into it. Obviously, Vasquez Miado, he was on goal. William Tecillo played left back, thank God. Ramiro Gonzalez, Andres Mosquera, a big surprise there. Avion Ramirez, Jefecito, Omar Fernandez, Luis Montes, Elias Hernandez, another surprise. Angel Mena and Gigliotti up front, who was heavily booed. You were at the stadium. How were those boos?
I was. They were disappointing. I don't like to be lumped in with the kind of fans that do that, and unfortunately, they were all around me. And look, I know maybe we'll have a dedicated Gigliotti booing segment, but let me just get it out of the way right now. I don't want him in the starting lineup any more than anybody else does. But once he's there and once the opening whistle blows, the guy's trying to help us win. It's not that he's not trying to help us win. It's that he can't. But as long as he's out there, support the man. He's not going to do any better by feeling unsupported by the fans, especially the home fans. I mean, cut the guy some slack. He's out there trying, and I don't like seeing our fans booing our own players. That is for me, that is disgraceful, especially as much as they did to the degree that they did. It was as if he were an opposing player who had a salty exit from the club who was making his return as a visiting player. It was those kind of boos. That is, to me, disgraceful. I don't want any part of that. I don't want to be surrounded by it. And again, disclaimer, I don't want him out there. I don't want him starting over Ormeño any more than anybody else does. But that kind of treatment of one of our guys, especially one who scored 2 goals in a final just less than a year ago, give the guy a break. It's not his fault that Holland puts him in the starting lineup. And once the opening whistle sounds, give the man some support. And honestly, here's the thing about being at a match live. You're not a slave to whatever the TV broadcast wants you to see. So I spent a good portion of the match just watching Gigliotti because he was the focus of the match, the people booing him. I spent a good portion of the match just watching him. The guy won a lot of one-on-one duels. His hold-up play was quite effective, kept the ball in the attacking area for other guys to get chances, which they mostly failed, but that's not his fault. His hold-up play was great. Not great, but decent, made up for some of his lack of scoring ability, scoring touch. He was out there trying, and he was more effective than people want to give him credit for. You can't just, especially a striker like him, a big guy, big size, hold-up play is very important, and I thought he did well with that in spite of not scoring. People want to look at the goals, and I mean your number 9 needs to score goals. But if he's not scoring goals, it's not to say that he isn't effective in any way. Cut the man some slack. Don't boo him at home. That's ridiculous. Like, as long as he's out there, he's one of us. He's wearing our colors. Give the man some support. It's not like he wants to go out there and do poorly. That's my Gigliotti rant. So I am not part of those fans who boo him. I will never boo one of our own players. That is just disgraceful.
Yeah, he had a good chance to put one away in the first half. I think it went off the keeper's chest. But if he makes that, it's a completely different game. He doesn't go off the game booed, right? He comes out maybe to a standing ovation. But it'll be interesting because the fans are judging him based on his goal scoring abilities. Nobody's judging him on any other ability but putting the ball in the net. And we've seen Ormeño already do that for us. So I think that's why the fans want him over Gigliotti. And I mean, throughout the match, you can hear in the broadcast, the fans are chanting for Ormeño to go in the game. Yeah. And I think that's what the fans want to see. I don't think it's that they hate Gigliotti, it's that they want to see Ormeño over Gigliotti.
Well, I think they eventually will. I think for whatever reason they're working in Ormeño more slowly than the other refuerzos. But I mean, especially at this rate, if Gigliotti, no matter how good the other elements of his game, I insist there are other parts to a striker's game, especially a striker like Gigliotti, than simply scoring goals. But I understand that, Ormeño's the shiny new refuerzo. He's the biggest name probably that's come to the team as a refuerzo in a while. And the fans want to see him out there. I get that. And they eventually will. At this rate, Gigliotti will not be the starter much longer. Even Holland, his buddy, his biggest supporter, will not be able to start him over Ormeño at the rate he's going. It'll eventually happen. But, just cut the guy some slack. He's out there wearing the Leon crest and trying. Like, you will get your Ormeño fix soon enough. Ormeño's coming.
I guess, like, how soon, Louis? How soon is, like, or when's the right time?
I wouldn't be surprised if he starts tomorrow, to be honest with you guys. I think not because of the booing. Like, I don't think the booing has any effect, or the chanting for Ormeño has any effect on Holland's decision making. I just think because it's a pretty short turnaround, and then we have Leagues Cup pretty shortly thereafter. I think he might not want to start a player of Gigliotti's age and legs and capabilities 2 matches in a row at such a short turnaround. I think this might be the one where Ormeño starts. So to answer your question, Kari, as soon as tomorrow, maybe.
Okay. As soon as tomorrow. I had Wi-Fi issues, but Carlos, did we go over the lineup?
Yes, we've gone over the lineup and the team news.
Okay.
Yeah, we talked about Colombato very, very, very slightly. Do you have any comment on Colombato's return? We have.
I'm excited.
Javier on the. Oh my God, I didn't even see Javier on the pod now.
All right, guys.
Javier.
Can you guys hear me? All right. Can you guys?
Yeah, we can.
See me? All right. I was having a lot of Wi-Fi issues as well in this hotel. In fact, I just took out the Wi-Fi and I'm just doing it with my laptop. So whatever.
Yes.
Also,
as I mentioned to those, now 3 of us out of the 4 are in Mexico, and it's been pouring rain here in the Bajío, which, as I mentioned, is not good.
I love it.
It's cool, but it is not good for the Wi-Fi.
No.
Oh no. I realized that. Yeah, my TV keeps going off, like my cable. I'm mad and stuff. I'm watching games, and there's nothing you can do. But I appreciate the weather, to be honest.
Are you guys heading out to
super hot over there? Yeah.
Together?
What did you say?
Are you guys heading out to Queretaro?
Yes, Javier and I will be traveling to La Corregidora tomorrow.
Let's go.
Oh, y'all should vlog.
Yeah. Oh, we'll take some videos. No
How's the
worries.
weather
Yeah,
out there?
vlog it, and then we'll post the next pod.
Well, it's supposed to rain there too. I mean, it's pretty close to here. This whole region, it's been very rainy. It's supposed there is rain in the forecast for tomorrow night as well. That was going to figure into my prediction too, but we can talk about that later.
Awesome.
But it is supposed to be raining during the match tomorrow. But Yeah. No, as far as the lineup, I was surprised that Barreiro was the odd man out. I was glad Ramiro came in, but I thought it would be for Mosquera, not for Barreiro.
Yeah.
But I think it worked out. The back line looked pretty solid. Ramiro had a great game. He was one of the best out there for me, for my money. Even had a couple of chances to score on set pieces and on balls driven in, which we saw a lot with San Luis. Didn't see so much in his first stint with Leon. He kind of honed that skill while playing for San Luis, and maybe we can see more of that here in Leon. That would be nice. Having an extra aerial threat is always a good thing.
Yeah, he looks much better since returning from San Luis. And I think he'll be starting moving forward. I think we're gonna see even with the return of Osvaldito. I think Olan's still gonna start to see on that left back row because he just looks so good. But let's not kid ourselves. This was a very, very, very bad Xolos team. They were really bad. There's no there's a reason why they're still they still don't have a win, and there's a reason why they're in like 17th place. It's a very bad team, so let's not kid ourselves. Let's not get too excited just yet.
No, but I mean, look how much León has traditionally struggled against teams like that. They don't call us a Levanta Muertos for nothing. I mean, it's too early in the season to really have any Muertos, to really have a Levanta Muertos. But you're right, they're a bad team, but you still got to beat them, and they did. I would say the same goes for our next opponent. In a Queretaro team that doesn't figure to do much this season either.
No, they've had like 12 transfers. Props to Queretaro for the presentation of how they presented their refuerzos with like a Panini, and then I just lost the name of the coach. Pulling out the cards, but they had a lot of transfers, So I really don't know how this Queretaro.
Yeah, but it would seem to me that Xolos should be the one that has a dog food as a sponsor on the front of their jersey, not Queretaro. But Queretaro should have like chicken feed or something. I don't know.
KFC, bro. They were smart, but
KFC, yeah, there you go. There you go.
But I also think the Queretaro, even though I did see the San Luis game, they were one man down, and I feel like that game was that's their clásico. So yeah, it was. I don't know. I like Nico Sosa scoring. I like seeing that. I just hope.
Yeah, we do have to eventually. We do have to eventually mention Nick Killer. We got to mention Nick Killer.
This is why this is what popped in my head. Like, wouldn't it be something if los mete dos goles or something like that? And then now
come on.
You know what I mean? But I mean, that's how it is sometimes. I'm just looking at that guy like,
knock on wood.
Leon has that kind of luck. But no, I don't think so. I think what we saw with Querétaro has been constant for the last couple of seasons. Even though they do try to bring these big names, like, there was the rumoraba que Podolski and, even Valencia when he came to Querétaro, and of course back in the day, Ronaldinho. Like, I appreciate what they try to do and, keep los equipos del Bajío more interesting than normal. But I don't think this season is going to be their season to even qualify in the top 12 from what I've seen so far. Again, it's too early to tell, but yeah, that's just my take.
Yeah, let's knock on wood on that Nicolet prediction. I hope he doesn't score a triplete.
Nah,
better not.
He's not gonna score again the rest of the tournament now.
It's a shame. It's a shame that he didn't get that first goal with us because he had so many chances to get it.
So many,
especially in that final. The one I remember the most is the one-on-one versus Talavera.
Yeah, and they still gave him that opportunity to be like, hey man, llévate toda la gloria. Because if he would have made that goal, we wouldn't have been like, freaking Nikita. He just came and, did nothing. And now he's in Querétaro, de cambio, y mete gol. So it's kind of like, all right, maybe that's his vibe. Maybe that's his team. Maybe that's his, que le vaya bien. I'm not going to hate on him.
I wonder what,
he did give us the Iliga MX title. So forever.
I wonder what Gigliotti thinks about Nick Killer scoring in this jornada and him Gigliotti getting booed by the whole stadium and not scoring, and then Nick Killer goes and scores for Querétaro. That can't feel good.
Score now. You better
that
score
can't
now.
feel good.
Yeah. That pressure is building up. Yeah.
Yeah, going back to to the boo. I think it was really uncalled for. I get the frustration, but I really think it was uncalled for. And then, I was thinking it as a joke, but with Louis saying like, I would never boo at a player. I mean, I kind of booed at Aquino when he got that red card and the last jornada where he kind of ruined it for us. I did boo at him because he knows better, but that was as a joke.
That's a little bit of a different situation.
Yeah.
I feel like. Because nobody ever doubted his quality, and everybody always wanted him out there. And booing someone for something stupid that they did instead of, just something they didn't do because of the ridiculously high expectations that people have for them. I don't know. It's the context is different for me. I still probably wouldn't boo, but the context is different. It's a little more understandable.
Yeah, I mean, the guy just got married and he's having a kid, and y'all still booed at him. Like,
I didn't.
No, I mean, what I mean.
Didn't. Yeah, I didn't, and I was ashamed. I was ashamed of everybody in my section.
We always, and this is part of human nature. We need a bad guy. We need someone to blame. We need someone. Olan just came, so we can't be fuera Olan. You know what I mean? So I think it's just finding a scapegoat. But at the same time, look, I can see where everybody comes from. At the end of the day, I see where everybody comes from sometimes. I'm more of a everything happens for a reason. So I'm always like, it's gonna be okay, guys. It's gonna be fine. Because I always think about like what I said. Lo que importa es cómo cerramos, and I still think that Olan is trying to figure out his su once ideal, and I think we're seeing it. With Ramiro, that was cool that we kind of guessed on what we would like to see against Xolos, and he kind of. He did kind of do something about it. He did change. So I just hope that continues, and it's not what many other people were saying, que está aferrado a jugarse con unos jugadores that maybe, and that's true. Maybe no matter how much you believe in a player, if they're not physically up to it, then they shouldn't be playing. They should be benched and give an opportunity to a youngster.
Yeah, you have, what's his name? He scored 2 in la sub-20. ¿Cómo se llama?
Armando León.
Armando León. He scored. Ya tiene 2 goles en la sub-20. So why not maybe give him a little tryout in the first division? I mean, especially with Leagues Cup coming up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Give him a chance.
Also with Chapito out and his most likely sub or the sub that makes most sense being Colombato, got to think about having another Mexicano in the starting lineup. So Armando León could be a good choice.
Yeah, but going back to the boos, I also don't agree with those boos. And I wouldn't boo. I was very surprised, though, that our fans would boo him even after what he – I know we're just going to keep going back to this, but what he did for us in that final where he showed up big time. He showed up big time.
He's got a track record.
He's going to be in our history for the rest of history, for the rest of time. That's going to be inscribed in our history, the fact that he came up big during that final. Whatever he does in the regular season, nobody's going to remember.
And that's
he's got a track record. He's got a historial.
Yeah.
This is not Walter Gonzalez we're talking about.
Exactly. I mean, ¿cuánto petardo has played for León? Gonzalo Rios. I mean, I can think of so many. And this guy, like I said, put it this way, and God forbid, but if León no sale campeón por 10 años, we're going to look at Gigliotti's goals like Argentinos sí, los goles de Diego con los ingleses. We're going to see that as, we're going to remember it. Just like for the longest, we would see el campeonato de León contra Puebla, los goles de Tita, the goal from Tita and Carlos Turrubiate. For the longest, that was we would see that video and that los emocionaba because that was our last glorious moment. So that's why I remember those days. So I'm always appreciative. I'm like, dude, I remember when we lost against Dorados in Segunda División. And you know what I mean? Like right now, I feel que the real thing that's going on is que los mal acostumbramos. And is it a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. I'm with you guys. I'm more of a, no sé fanático. I just really understand the process of how long it takes for a team to play well, especially someone else is coming in. There's a lot of politics involved, promotores. At the end of the day, what we want is for the team to respond to what we think they're capable of doing. You know what I mean? Like we kind of can't accept that they were playing so well not that long ago, and then all of a sudden, it's like restarting, but it is a process. And yeah, the whole booing thing, it's like the same people that are saying fuera Olan. It's have a little bit more of a patience, you know.
Shows a lot of ignorance in the fan base, which I do not like.
Yeah.
So one thing I wanted to bring up that I heard over the weekend, very controversial. I don't think I shared it with you guys because I didn't know whether it was true or not. But I ended up watching a post-game reaction by Tito Manriquez and Carlos Torrubiates, right, from Región 4 TV. And Tito Manriquez said during the podcast, he said that John Meneses asked for the team to let him go this offseason. And the team said, no, we can't let you go. Not even a préstamo. We only can sell you. And that's why he's been playing so bad. He has this grudge against the team right now.
Really?
That's what was reported by el señor
Tito Manriquez.
Tito Manriquez, yeah. Tito Manriquez. I have the link to the post if you guys want to hear it. But I was like, who are these guys?
Well,
are they legit?
Did he present this as inside information or some kind of hunch?
No. It wasn't a hunch. He said he got information from somebody close to the team. He didn't mention any names. Obviously, you're not going to go with your sources, but he said it was confidential information from someone close to the team, and it sounded believable, and it kind of makes sense. It kind of makes sense.
And here's the thing: Tito Manriquez no es de vender humo. From all of my years of looking at all los periodistas de León, he's never struck me as being someone que vende humo. Not even if you look at his Twitter handle or his social media, he's not really creen que va a vender a León. He just kind of, I agree with you. I haven't seen it. I want to kind of just hopefully take a look at that and see if it comes through as something that he does have inside information. If that's true, then shame on Meneses, because that's the dumbest way to even, the only way that's gonna happen is you're probably gonna go to another team that is less deserving based on what you've been playing the last couple of this season. Like if he le echa ganas and he plays well, I think that's the best way for a bigger team or a team to really buy you and everybody wins. I don't know what is the point of fighting like that con la directiva if it's true. If it's true, right?
Doesn't he have contract until? Do we know the date?
2023, December 2023.
Where would he want to go?
So the only way is to sell him. I don't know why he's mad that they can't even. ¿Cómo lo van a prestar?
I don't know what to make of that. To be honest, I think maybe there is some truth to it. My guess is it's somewhere in the middle. Like he might not be happy with the club anymore. He might be thinking about his future endeavors and his next move. But there's like animosity or a grudge there.
Yeah.
Anger, and that it would affect his play and that he would purposefully not play well. I just don't buy that. Frankly, I thought he came in and had a good shift as a sub in the second half. Pretty decent. He didn't score as you predicted he would, Carlos. But I thought he had a pretty good shift in the second half. I didn't think he played poorly. I think he was just kind of working his way back in after having a long spell of international duty. He still kind of is. But I thought he played well.
But he has had some questionable plays, especially that play at Pachuca where it was like a 3-on-1 break. He had the ball. He could have easily fed the ball to Arquemena. And I don't remember what he did. I think he just held up the play and just waited for everybody else to show up. But I remember a bunch of fans, especially on Twitter, were questioning why would he do that? Why didn't he just make the play? Here, he's just kind of just been sort of lethargic in his area, kind of just trotting. He didn't really show up for Campeón de Campeones either. Another player that was brought up by Tito Manriquez was the case of Jairo Moreno, right? Who supposedly he was already on his way out. El promotor lo puso en el Galatasaray, and it was rumored, and he ended up going to Pachuca, right?
Yeah. And
supposedly he didn't want to play because he wanted to avoid getting injured so he can make that jump to Europe. But it was all humo by his promotor. and he just ended up going to Pachuca. So he used that as an example of what's happening with John Meneses right now.
Well, I saw John Meneses in the lobby of the Hotel de Concentración before the Campeón de Campeones. He looked very happy to be there. He gave some comp tickets away to some fans who I think had gotten in touch with him somehow. And he gave them tickets to the game, and he was all smiles. He seemed very happy to be there. The vibe around that was not anything unusual. Just nothing to read into, but I do occasionally see these guys all together in a team setting, but outside the pitch, outside the vestidor, in the hotels. And I would not have read into anything. Sometimes guys have a stank face, like they don't really want to be there, but that was not the case in this situation. So make of that what you will. I think there's probably some truth to it. Like all these guys, especially the ones who are always convocados in the selecciones, like the bigger names, especially John Meneses, if he's going to have a European spell at any point in his career, it's probably now or never. So I think, I'm sure he's thinking about that. But I'm thinking it's also kind of probably blown out of proportion because these guys got to make a story out of it somehow. I mean,
all I can say about this situation and so many situations in the past is that it does seem like La Directiva always has this kind of problems towards the end of whoever person, whether coach or players, stay in León, right? It never ends well, kind of with almost anyone, in terms of how they want to leave or if I think about, of course, we do know that Nacho was mainly his promotor, and it seems the same problem with Jairo was that. Meneses, for sure, like what Luis said, understands that he's seleccionado nacional chileno, so he does probably wants to play in Europe. That being said, like I kind of understand his point of view that it's now or never, and he's probably frustrated that La Directiva said, "Hey, we're not gonna give you to any team unless they buy you," and there probably wasn't, esas ofertas. Like the same thing happened to Jairo, right? Puro humo que se iba a Galatasaray, whatever, y nada era concreto. So I think maybe that's the problem. Maybe Pachuca or León has their own way of looking at things of how they want to deal with these players, where they want them to go, how much they want. I don't know. At the end of the day, I just hope that you're a professional, because that's the one thing that I just hope. Like everything can be real about what you're saying. I just don't want the fact that Meneses is not being a professional, and de todas maneras te está pagando el Club León, so you better give it your all while you're still here. Eventually, down the line, if they do end up selling you, whatever, that's what you want anyway. So why not give it your all instead of not playing and making it look like making your valor go all the way down? Then who's gonna want you in Europe? Especially
that's why I don't think he's doing it on purpose. He's not dumb. He's not dumb. He knows the best way to garner interest in a move is to play the best he possibly can.
Holland, he would have been.
Well, I mean, he didn't start this weekend. He didn't.
Yeah, but he would have been aislado. He would have been aislado. La Directiva does that. They would have been, all right, you're just gonna train. Kind of how. Imagine if this was happening to Davila, I would. If this was happening to Davila, like I think, well, he's not even in los planes para nada. Pero I just think that if he came in as a sub anyway. Now the whole benching thing, I agree with, because remember last time we were talking about that. There are some players that sometimes need to be benched, and I just think that's going on with Meneses. I don't want to think the other. We'll see. I think by the end of the season we'll know more for a fact if he's actually trying to perjudicar, his time with León.
My question is, how much did bringing in Omar Fernandez have to do with this? Was it before or after they brought in Omar Fernandez, who basically plays the same position, that he decided he wanted out? The thing is, we have this amazing depth now. We have this really great depth along the lines of Tigres and Monterrey and teams like that just buy up players and they have 2A teams if they want. We have this amazing depth now, but it's only a weapon if everybody's bought in and realizing their minutes might get cut into, but it's for the benefit of the squad, especially playing now Leagues Cup. We're playing 2 tournaments again, hopefully going all the way in both of them. So it can be such a weapon, but the guys have to be bought in. They have to set their egos aside. They have to understand that, they're just part of a whole. Their role might be a little bit different. Mm-hmm. And if they do, then we have a great squad that can play 2 tournaments easily and go all the way in both. If not,
and so Louis,
I don't want Omar Fernandez to just be there in case John Meneses isn't performing. No, I want them both. I want them both to be major factors in our success.
Like any great big team, they have these kind of players in la banca. And like what you're saying, let me just add this last thing, and it makes so much sense that la directiva, for no reason at all, would ever right now sell Meneses if they are looking a Plaza Largo. And I know the job isn't done because what they need to do is win that Conca Champions. So, of course, they're trying to do everything they can para tener un equipo fuerte para cuando empiece este torneo. I think that's my opinion. I don't think la directiva is thinking, hay que ganar este campeonato. Of course, we need to win, of course, cada campeonato that we play. But I think the big one that we already feel kind of like it's a chip on our shoulder is that international trophy. And the only way we're going to do that, we've seen against LAFC in Toronto, is we need a better banca. So of course, I don't think they would just give up Meneses prestándolo. If he's going to go, they're going to sell him for a big amount so we can buy other players, right? If not, he's going to stay until that job is done. That's how I see all these players, should only leave until if se fracasa, vendes a Meneses, Amena, everybody get out of here. Like that's how I see it.
Recently we've had Jairo leave. We've heard rumors about Davila wanting to leave, and now we have rumors about John Meneses wanting to leave. Do you guys think that this could possibly just be linked to Nacho Ambriz leaving? Like these guys are mad that Ambriz didn't come back, or they kind of feel like their process or their time is done at León now that Ambriz is out. Like they had that connection, that deep connection with the coach who made them champions, that they don't want to be here anymore. They don't want to start a brand new process. They would just rather go somewhere else. They've done what they've done. Time to start something new.
I think they've done what they've done, but I feel like we even talked about in a podcast how it kind of seemed like that they kind of lost trust. It was kind of like a mutual trust. Like it was just the end of those players and Ambriz. Like you didn't even see like a possible like como garra que sacaron los jugadores at the very last, the run that they had. Like I didn't see it anymore. And I think we've even talked about it. Like, it's something going on. Has Ambriz kind of lost the locker room to a certain extent. I feel like there's mutual respect between the players and Ambriz. I just think maybe they came to a close ending. And I think with Olan coming in, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about. I'm not saying futbolísticamente. I'm saying maybe how it is in the locker room with Olan. I think this is a coach that is very interactive on Twitter. If you guys see, like every time
on Instagram too,
really,
he's always like if a Club has a picture of him or anything, he's always quote retweeting. He's very interactive. Not very used. I'm not used to that so much. I think he's trying to win the fan base.
The first time
through media a different way. But I think futbolísticamente, that's what we want is just the response on the field. But
it seems like he's listening to us. Because that just seems like he's listening to us. So that's kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, pretty sure he's reading every comment. Pretty sure it bothers him a couple of things.
Well, I don't think he's running. I don't even think he's running his own account. He probably has somebody running it for him. But if you notice, he didn't tweet anything when we lost in la primera jornada. He didn't say anything. So
rightfully so. Rightfully, sometimes it's better not to say anything, bro.
Yeah.
And then now that we won against Xolos, and I even saw cómo celebró los goles. That's the thing, man. Like, I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt because he does bring his energy. It's undeniable. I do think it's an interesting, situation that we have here because again, he's not really he comes from hockey and he has his own ideas with drones. So I know I'm always kind of like skeptical when it comes to these stuff. But one of the things I like about that I want in León to always have is these kind of projects, right? Where people are gonna always remember El León de Matosas, El León de Ambriz, for their particular way of playing, their way of just, handling the ball or su filosofía para jugar al fútbol. Imagine if Volan does his own thing, eso es lo que hace equipos grandes, que people remember los grandes equipos de la historia de cualquier época, de cualquier fútbol. So I do think that's kind of what I wish could happen with Olan, but again, it's a process. I know that I guess when he came in, I guess many people tenía la barra muy alta para él, so us losing against Cruz Azul really got us so mad, and not to mention the 4-0 against Pachuca, but I think we were all on the same page, right? That it's going to be a process, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's mainly that, man. Hopefully he, siga dando resultados.
Definitely. Guys, quickly go over Jornada 2 rundown, starting out with Mazatlán winning over Pachuca 2-1. Sorry, Luis, unfortunately beat Puebla 2-0. No, you're not happy. But we digress.
Not at all.
Obviously, the victory of León against Xolos 2-1. América beating Necaxa 2-1. Monterrey over Pumas 2-0. Atlas over Juárez 2-0. Rough start for Juárez. The Tuca Ferretti, which is still weird to say.
Oh, man. And their season just got worse. Darío Lezcano's out for the season.
Oh, really?
Man. He's out for the season. He tore his ACL.
What? Oh, no.
He's done.
Yeah. Oh, that's
He's done.
Come on, Tuca, no te hagas esto. Just quit, man. Just freaking, retírate. You're going to get a heart attack.
While you still can.
Bold prediction. If Juárez misses the repechaje, Tuca will retire.
Yeah. No, he's probably going to quit.
Maybe he's too stubborn.
Yeah.
But that's my bold prediction for right now.
Yeah.
Now remember, he has the record most continuous without getting fired. But again, this time he got fired, and did he get fired or did he just quit?
No, it was like a mutual agreement to step down.
Yeah.
I guess that's the first time that's ever happened in his career, even with the mutual agreement. But still, you don't want to. It's like that saying. Sometimes, it's like boxers, they don't retire on time. I think he has a great legado, and it's a great venture trying to do in Juárez, but Lezcano is out. There's no way. Just
that's tough.
Before they blame you.
Before they say
it's all Tuca's fault.
I don't think he'll retire.
El Tigres de Piojo. See, I still relate Piojo to America.
Oh, wow.
Toluca beating them 3-1. Santos versus Cruz Azul drew 1-1, as well as San Luis and Queretaro, which we did mention the goal by Nico Sosa. So Jornada 3 will kick off tomorrow. First matchup, as we're going to preview a bit, versus Queretaro, 9 o'clock Central. Mazatlán, Monterrey, Necaxa, Cruz Azul, Xolos, Toluca, Chivas, Juárez, América, Puebla, Tigres, Santos, Pumas, San Luis, and closing on next Monday night, Pachuca versus Atlas. That will be week 3. So I know you guys did mention about Chapito Montes being injured. Colon Baby is going to be back. What are we thinking about what a possible predicted lineup was going to look tomorrow?
Well, I think your Wi-Fi was failing when I suggested that Colombato, they might just start Colombato in place of Chapito 1-for-1.
That's it.
How do you guys feel? How do you guys feel about the goalkeeper situation right now? Because Vasquez Miailo has been doing a great.
That's another.
But
he's doing a great job.
Another thing.
He's doing a great job.
But I don't know if you guys.
But then you have Cota, who's like he's our star goalkeeper. But he hasn't had any. He hasn't had any activity.
Yes, he had precisely 0 minutes in the Gold Cup.
0 minutes. So, why wouldn't you give him some activity?
Yeah, Miailo's on form, and he had a great
form.
He had a great game, saved a PK, which Cota has, I believe, done only one time in his entire stint with León. It was in Queretaro at La Corregidora. I remember. Mosquera had been red carded. They went to VAR. They took away the red card, but awarded a penalty, and Cota saved it. And then Leon went on to win that match 4-0.
But that was such an impressive save. Such an impressive save because
Vasquez Mellado,
because of where it was positioned and the force behind the shot. I mean, it went off the post, and as soon as he blocked it, he just fist pumped, and he was pumped, man. And you can tell he's on form.
He's a solid option for as a backup keeper in general. I mean, he's very on top of his game. I think he's been very underrated for very long times because of the teams he's played for that don't get a lot of media attention. I think he will start tomorrow. I don't think Cota starts tomorrow right away. I think he will get back to being the starter eventually, but not tomorrow.
Same.
Yeah, not right now. Yeah. And you're right. With him, I could just tell that's a specialty that he loves. That's what gives him so much passion and so much adrenaline to being a portero. Like, it just fit perfectly, and I can just see like he's gonna get better at doing that. I mean, that there's actually goalies that their specialty is that, and it just seemed like it was so natural to him. And again with Cota, I think this is his first penal y la primera que atajó. You know, Leon has had a history with porteros like that. I mean, I remember when Comiso, before we know the Comiso that we know. But during that season, he was atajando penales left and right. Tenía como 5 al hilo. So, yeah, that's just to me like for like Leon likes those kind of goalies, man. It's just, I mean, who doesn't? Anybody, but.
So when do you insert Cota back into the lineup? Like, what if Vasquez Mellado continues to kill it?
I mean,
when are they playing the first game of the league?
The next game is versus
next week, isn't it? No, the League's Cup.
No, the next game is the League's Cup.
League's Cup
is on the 10th.
And then Mazatlan.
Thursday? Or Wednesday?
Wednesday, I think. A week from today is the League's Cup match.
Tuesday.
And then Saturday against Mazatlan.
Oh, right? Tuesday. Okay.
It's on a Tuesday, yeah.
Tuesday, and then Mazatlan Saturday.
So Cota for League's Cup?
I don't know.
That's a solid option.
That's all you.
That's a solid option.
It's so tricky right now, though, because what you guys are saying, no tiene minutos Cota, and Mellado's doing such a great job. So it's like, is right now that's it's a direct elimination one game, right? The League's Cup.
Yeah, it's a one off,
right? One off. So in that situation, do you start the one who's had more minutes and looks more solid, or the player that, you know, I wouldn't mind seeing Cota against Mazatlan maybe, you know, in casa. But who knows? Olan should probably already have a feeling of what's going on. And same thing with what we're talking about Colombato. He probably already knows, he's starting against, now that Chapo is not going to be there. But that's just something that we had a drone, and I could just watch.
I think you start Mellado on Tuesday and then have Cota Saturday.
Yeah, that's what I said. I think Cota against Mazatlan and Mellado against this one. Because he has more minutes. Y como que sí, I can see like está ganando la confianza you know, I can see that it's all good for him right now. So you don't want to stop that momentum. That's all I could say.
Yeah, especially if we win in Queretaro and we get 6 points out of the first 3 matches and kind of slowly establishing ourselves in the tournament, then I think you feel a little bit safer starting a cold Cota against Mazatlan, and he'll probably feel more comfortable getting his first minutes at home in the Glorioso. So I think that's part of it too. But we'll see. It's going to be a tough decision whenever they decide to bring Cota in.
Yeah.
My Wi-Fi.
But I think the backline's gonna be the same. We're gonna keep the same backline as against Xolos because it worked out.
I like Ramiro.
We're keeping in the midfield. Carlos.
Yeah, I think so. Well, actually, no. I think we can put Barreto in there. I think we can use Barreto instead of Mosquera. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I was surprised. Yeah. I was surprised that that Barreto was the odd man out instead of Mosquera. And And
I think we can sub him in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a nice change. But in the midfield, Colombato, right?
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
just want to see what he's got. You know what I mean? Like,
of all the convocados, I feel like he's the one who could come back and after a couple days start, just be ready to go. He seems like he's so gung ho about everything. He's just always ready to go. He has that attitude, which is one of the things I like about him.
So are we having Omar Fernandez run the show as the number 10?
I don't know if,
yes?
I mean, I think he'll still be deployed on the left, but I mean, we'll see if he runs the show from there. I mean, we'll see if he gets more touches, gets more opportunity to create. That's a serious possibility.
What do you guys think about a combination between Colombato and Jefecito, who's on form this season? And he's not looking bad. He's not looking bad.
He had a much better game against Xolos than he did against Pachuca. Yeah.
So that's a yes.
I could see that. I mean, I could see them playing really well.
I get the feeling they're going to stick with Jefecito for a while.
Okay, Jefecito. And then Mena and Ormeño or Gigliotti, guys?
I say Ormeño.
Ormeño tomorrow.
Javier?
Same. I think put the one, like, still, if you're going to play las jornadas que vamos a tener, start one and then probably start the other one, kind of like how they always do. So, but at the same time, I don't even think they're tired. You kind of do that towards the end of the season. But I think if Ormeño, what we've seen from him, already seemed like he's more hungry, like, why not? Play him first, and then, put Gigliotti as a sub, or put Armando Leon, or again, it just depends. When it comes to that, none of them are really doing their job. So it's just whoever has más puntería. I think those are the things that you see entre semana, during those entrenamientos. That's why I was trying to say, I wish I had a drone that could just fly El Estadio de León and just freaking spy on them. It's like, you'd be like, okay, who's running more? You know what I mean? I was thinking about it. Anyway, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just whoever's more informed. But I like your idea about Omar running the show. I think these are the kind of things, because Chapo is not forever. I know he ages like wine. I know he does, and it's hard for us to even one day contemplate. Pues ya no va a dar, even if he doesn't retire, que no dé lo mismo. So we have to start thinking about, now que va a estar lesionado, someone that is going to take that creative spot. We do need creatives. I always believe in a 10 should always be we should always have a creative person on the field that can just stop the ball, think, and just try something new, instead of everything being so robotic. That's Chapo. Chapo la para is, let's go this way now, let's go that way. And I can see Omar doing that, I can see Colombato doing that, and like I said, we're gonna see now that Chapo's not gonna be playing. We're gonna see how this team is gonna look against Queretaro, against the Leagues Cup game, which I still don't know who we're playing. Is it Kansas or something?
Sporting Kansas City.
Kansas City.
And then Mazatlan, right? And then Mazatlan.
Sporting Kansas City are a good team. They've not looked so good in their last few matches in MLS, which hopefully plays to our favor.
They have Alan Pulido.
But they lost to a really bad FC Dallas side at home in their last match. So they're vulnerable. They're beatable.
Let's hope we break the curse of losing on U.S. territory.
I hope.
Oh my God,
I really want to go to a final in Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas.
So do I.
Let's go.
That stadium looks obviously we're not going to talk about why, but we all had a chance to see that stadium on TV the other day, and it looked like an amazing place. It looked like an amazing place to watch a football match. That's all I'm saying.
When's the final?
I've driven by it. I was there last year.
It's in mid-September.
It's like on the 20th of September.
No, I believe it's the. Wait, no, yes, you're right. 22nd, maybe 22nd.
Yeah, something around there. Because I know I come back. My last day in León is on the 11th, but because I specifically got to stay on the 19th, and I think the final's on the 20th or something. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I want to go because it's in Raider Stadium. So yeah.
Yeah, it would be extremely fun. It would be extremely fun to see León. To see León get through these League Cup matches and get to an international final. But they have to beat Sporting Kansas City first. or it's not going to matter.
Yeah, let's not even think ahead right now. Let's just one game at a time.
One game at a time. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess we'll see what lineup comes out tomorrow, as we have, 3 matchups in like a week and a half?
10 days, yeah.
Around there, 10 days. So let's go ahead and go to our predictions. And we'll get Jose's prediction whenever we can, but let's go to prediction time.
Prediction time, prediction time, prediction time, prediction time, prediction time, prediction time.
Prediction time. Let's go ahead and start off with Louis. What is your prediction?
I'm going to be a little conservative on this one. I'm going to say 1-0, Leon. Because I think there is rain in the forecast, and I think it will be a factor. I can't remember the last time. They always say, same conditions for both teams, whatever. But I can't remember the last time Leon won a match when it was raining pretty much the entire time, and it was like 6 years ago. It was 6 years ago against Chivas at home, Apertura 2015. Nacho Gonzalez scored the only goal of the match, 1-0. And it was raining the entire match. Every time it's rained consistently in a match, a León le ha perjudicado. Like, they just do not play well in the rain.
Dude,
and
it's really gonna rain like all day.
Yeah, man.
You said be worried about it because it's gonna rain.
I said,
you're making it seem like it's gonna flood.
I told you to be prepared for the rain.
I needed to buy an umbrella.
No, you're not going to be able to bring an umbrella. You're not going to be able to bring an umbrella in the stadium. Just get an impermeable.
Is that your? Okay, I'll find something.
Get an impermeable.
I can just buy one right there, right? I could buy one at the stadium.
You can. It'll be overpriced, but you can.
No, I'll buy one over here. I'll just buy.
So I think León pulls it out just because they have a far better squad, and it's also taking into account the very quick turnaround for Queretaro. They played Monday and now have to play again on Thursday, another league match. It's almost as though it were a doble jornada, but it's not. Yeah. So, have to take that into consideration. León has had a couple extra days to rest. They obviously, even with Chapito out, have the better squad. I think they're going to pull out the win, but because of the rain, I think it's going to be more nervy and a more tightly contested contest than we would like. So I'm going to go with 1-0.
1-0. Very conservative. Javi, one shot at the prediction.
Okay. No, it's because Louis was like talking, and I'm like, should I build an ark and go to Querétaro at this point? Like, how much is going to rain? That's actually interesting about that if it rains, and I do think León. I used to always think that too. Que no le conviene when la cancha no está bien pareja or it rains. They like having control. But that was what I thought about Ambris León. I think it's going to be a 2-0 win for León. 2-0.
2-0. Louis says 1-0. Javi says 2-0. Carlos.
I'm going to have to agree with Javier on this one.
What?
I also see it being a 2-0. Just because watching the highlights of the Querétaro versus San Luis had a complete overhaul of their defense. They let go of every defender that they had. And they either signed new defenders from El Ascenso, or they received players who were out on loan, who were defenders. So their defense is like completely, like it's completely new. So I'm thinking if Querétaro can barely score on a brand new defense, on a bad defense basically, and they had the worst defense last season as well, then we shouldn't have a problem scoring on them, especially if Santiago Ormeño gets in there. So I think Ormeño's going to get his first doblete as a León player, and we're going to get out of there with a 2-0 win.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't thinking that, but you kind of read my mind, Carlos. You kind of read my mind. Took the words out of my mouth.
All of a sudden.
Nah, but you're right. I mean, that makes so much sense. Like when you break it down like that, I saw the game as well. It's just that I saw it as that as well as a team that I didn't think was so hard. Even in terms of dominating, I think Leon can have ball control, and I do think in a way that even if if Querétaro is down, people say, oh, against San Luis with one man down, regresaron, but I don't think they're gonna make all their chances. I didn't see it. I didn't see them as a team that creates a lot of opportunities, as well as I think our defense is more solid than San Luis. So you're right. I just didn't think about it like that.
So Carlos and Javi agree with the 2-0 win for Leon tomorrow night. I'm going with the 2-1. Compared to last, I think I did a draw. But I'm going with a 2-1. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I think what Carlos has said about the team, like I mentioned, they have a lot of new faces. So I think they're still trying to work on finding their groove. So we'll be interested, like Louis says, if the rain becomes a huge factor, how that turns out, especially on a Thursday night, which is kind of sad, guys, because we won't see Leon on the weekend. It's just gonna be over after tomorrow.
But we have the whole weekend. We have the whole weekend to party. So there's the silver lining to that cloud.
True.
Also have to remember that La Corregidora is a stadium. Le viene muy bien a León jugar en La Corregidora. I think they've won their last 4 matches against Querétaro there, and the last 5 in total, if you count the semifinal against America that got moved there in the Clausura 2019. It's been a house of muchas alegrías. The last two wins by León against Querétaro there were that fans were allowed into, of course, were 4-0 wins. So I mean I don't see this Querétaro team. I don't see this Querétaro team putting up more of a fight than any of those teams. Actually, that 4-0 win, the one I mentioned before, where Cota atajó un penal, like that was actually a pretty good Querétaro team that ended up doing pretty well and making the liguilla, and they had some. I think that was the last season of Vucetich in his most recent stint there, and they had a good team, and we still went in there and absolutely crushed them. Leon likes playing there. I know a lot of, not just Javier and myself, we will be there, of course, but I know a lot of other. I've seen a lot posts from a lot of other Leon fans who are making the trip. Obviously, it's very close. It's probably, I think it is the closest road game that Leon ever has to play. So there's always a lot of Leon fans in the stands, and they always make their presence felt. So I think it'll be fun.
Aguascalientes more close. That's a good question.
Yeah, Aguascalientes is a little more close. It's a little closer to Leon. Querétaro is a little closer to Guanajuato, though, and that's where we're leaving from. Yeah. So I expect it to be a fun match. A lot of green. Obviously, it will only be 30% maximum capacity in attendance, but I expect to see a lot of green in the stands. So yeah, it should be a fun night. Hopefully Leon comes back with the result. 9 p.m. start on a weeknight. That's not very much fun, but
I know.
So hopefully they make it worth our while.
Hopefully Nico Sosa makes an autogolazo.
No, take that back.
No, but he'd be like,
hey, remember,
that was for you. That was for you guys, Leon.
Nico Sosa plays for Querétaro now, so a Nico Sosa autogol would be great. Yeah.
Yeah, when un autogolazo, and he'd be like, hey guys, that's for you guys because you guys deserve it.
Wait. If Nico Sosa scores on us, does he celebrate?
He said he wouldn't.
No.
He said that?
Yeah, he was asked about it, and he said he appreciates all the former clubs that he's been with as part of his trayectoria, and then he would not celebrate against us. But he also kind of threw a little bit of shade, saying that in Querétaro he has regained the confidence that he lost here.
Oh man!
I mean, but that's kind of
we never booed him.
But that's kind of true, though. We never booed him. But I think he's right, though. Like, he kind of, when he came here, he noticed this wasn't going to be his team. And now that he has this new confidence, good for him, because he did give us an AD guy MX. But
now, I think some of that is just the etiqueta of León le quedó un poco grande. Playing for a club like León le quedó un poco grande. Yeah. Playing for Querétaro, he doesn't have that same pressure. Like, Querétaro's not expected to do anything. He's not expected to do anything this season.
That's how we should take what he said, because we know that's why he could, score.
Definitely. So hopefully Nico Sosa won't score this game, maybe next game, but not against Leon. So anyways, guys, this is episode 84, the bounce back, as Leon did bounce back on at home Grand versus Xolos. So thank you everybody that joined us via Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope. There was a couple comments, and Naku was in the comments, as well as I can't remember his name. He's always interactive on Twitter.
Mr. Chris King.
There you go. Shout out to Chris.
Shout out to Chris King.
Always keeping up with the Lions Den on Twitter and social medias. Don't forget to follow us on our socials on screen. Javier and Louis will be live tomorrow night. If for anything you guys are missing the matchup, don't forget to follow Club Leon at Club Leon EN for all your English content. Live tweeting. If there's any goals, don't forget, just click on the profile, go through the live tweets, and you'll definitely find the goals there. If you happen to be working, studying, whatever it is, Club Leon EN will keep you updated with everything you need to know in regards to Club Leon in English. So thank you guys for joining us. We'll have a lot more action next week, as we'll be facing Sporting Kansas as well as a Mazatlan Liga MX game. But yeah, so thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed this podcast. Let us know what you thought, and we're going to take off, guys.
Ciao.